Okay, this is a short video by Dr. Shan to show you how to conduct hypothesis testing with Minitab. Okay, so this video is complementary to the PowerPoint lecture file with my voice recorded, so you should watch them side by side. Okay, so let's go to slide 3. And we will see how to do a one-tailed hypothesis test about the population mean when the standard deviation is known, sigma is known. Okay, so let's say that we get the sample size is 20, okay, and the sample mean is 13.4, the population standard deviation is 2, and then the level of significance is 5%. So the null hypothesis is whether we want whether the service goal of 12 minutes or less is met. So this translates to H0 being what mu is less than or equal to 12, and the alternative hypothesis is mu is greater than 12. Okay, so now let's see how to do this in Minitab. So start your Minitab, go to Stat, Basic Statistics, one sample Z, because we know the population standard deviation. Okay, go to Summarize the data and enter sample size 20, sample mean 13.4, and the known standard deviation 2, and check this perform hypothesis test. So we already saw this setting before, but last time when we construct confidence interval, we did not check this box, but we need to do it now. Once you check this, you can enter the hypothesized mean, which is 12. Okay, and then you click on option. Now, since our level of significance is 5%, which implies the confidence interval 1 minus alpha is 95%. Okay, and also our alternative hypothesis is the population mean is greater than hypothesized mean. Okay, so we click. If that's not what is chosen, you can use drop-down menu, choose the appropriate one. Okay, so you hit OK, and then OK, and then the Minitab will do the hypothesis test, the Z test. Okay, so from the output, you can look at the sample size 20, the mean is 13.4, the standard error is 0.447, which is used to construct the confidence interval. So because this is one-sided, so we only have a lower bound for mu, which is 12.664. So just from the confidence interval, we can conclude that the hypothesized mean, which is 12, is not included in this confidence interval, so we will reject the null hypothesis. Okay, so this is if you take the confidence interval approach. However, if you use the Z critical value and the p-value approach, it will be a different thing. Okay, so the Minitab also tells you the null hypothesis and the alternative hypothesis, so you can verify that, and also the test statistics, which is 3.13, and the corresponding p-value is 0.001. Okay, so you can compare this 0.001 much less than 5%, so you reject the null hypothesis. You say that the true population mean is greater than 12 minutes. So we need some action to improve our service, because the service goal of 12 minutes or less is not met. Okay, so you can also use the critical value and compare it with the Z value. Unfortunately, the Minitab doesn't tell you the critical value, but the conclusion from the Z value, critical value, and the p-value approach will be the same. Okay, so this is our example. Now let's say that instead of summarized data, you have those data you collect a sample of 20. You have the raw data. Okay, so you copy them into the Minitab. You call them service time. Okay. Oh, okay. So you go to tab stat, basic statistics, one sample Z. Okay. So this time, instead of summarize data, we will use the first one or more samples, each in a column, and click the empty text box, and then double click service, and the service time will go to this column and the text, right? And no standard deviation is 2. Perform hypothesis test. The hypothesized mean is 12. Our option, we want to find 95% confidence interval, and the mean is greater than or equal to hypothesized mean. Okay, so then you hit OK. So let's wait for our output. Okay, so you can see the output of this hypothesis test is the same as our previous one. Okay, so this is just show you how to use the raw data instead of summarized data as in the previous example. Okay, thank you. So now let's take a look at another example. So this is the glow toothpaste example, where we are collecting a sample of 30 tubes and testing whether it's 6 ounce mean is 6 ounce or not, right? So this is a two-sided test. So we know it's 0.2 ounce as the population standard deviation, and also notice that this time we are taking 3% as our level of confidence. Okay, so let's do this in Minitab. Go to Minitab, and once the stat, basic statistics, still one sample Z, sorry. And then we use summarized data. So the sample size is 30. The sample mean is 13.4. And let's go back. The standard deviation is 0.2. And the hypothesized mean, sorry, okay, so the sample mean is 6.1, and the hypothesized mean is 6. Okay, and option, since our level of significance is 3%, so we need to change the confidence level to 97. And also the alternative hypothesis is that we say the mean is not equal to the hypothesized mean. Okay, so you hit OK and wait for the output. You can verify the sample size, mean square standard error, and which is used to construct the confidence interval. Notice that the hypothesized mean is not within the confidence interval. Therefore, the hypothesis should be rejected. No hypothesis should be rejected if you are using a confidence interval approach. Now, with our p-value approach, you can also verify the null hypothesis and alternative hypotheses. You see that the test statistics C equals 2.74 and corresponding to the p-value is 0.6%. So it's less than 3%, so we reject the null hypotheses. And also, Minitab doesn't really give you the critical value that you can compare the test statistics to. However, it should give you the same conclusion as the p-value approach. Okay, so this is the glow toothpaste example. Now let's take a look at the next example, the highway patrol example. Okay, so the highway patrol example says the null hypothesis is given. Mu is less than or equal to 65. Okay, and some data. They collect 64 vehicles, and the mean speed is 66.2 mph with a standard deviation of 4.2. So in this case, we don't know the population standard deviation. We have to estimate, use our sample standard deviation. We know the sample standard deviation is 4.2, and the significance level is 5%. Okay, so we need to copy the key data into our Minitab. Okay, so let's go to Minitab. This time, basic statistics. This time we will do one sample T, because we don't know the population standard deviation. Again, we will go to the summarized data. Okay, so the sample size is 30. The sample mean is let's see, 66.2. The sample size is 64, and the standard deviation is 4.2. Okay, let's see if it's correct or not. Okay, so you choose perform hypothesis test. The hypothesis size mean is 65. The level of significance is 95, because our type 1 error rate or level of significance is 5%. The alternative is the mean is not equal to hypothesized mean. Okay, so let's double check the inputs. Everything seems to be correct. Okay, so we will hit OK, and the Minitab will do the test for us. So as you can verify from the output, you can verify the sample size, the mean, the standard deviation, and also standard error that used to calculate the confidence interval. Again, with the confidence interval approach, you can see the hypothesized mean 65 is not located within this confidence interval. Therefore, we will reject the null hypotheses. So again, this is the conclusion from confidence interval approach, which is consistent with the p-value approach. So let's take a look at the p-value approach. The null hypothesis is the mu equals 65. The alternative is the mu does not equal 65. The test statistic, which is t value here, okay, notice it's t, not z, and the corresponding probability p-value is 0.026, and then because it's less than 0.05, so we rejected the null hypotheses. Okay, so thank you.